married, whether you have kids, those things doesn't define you as a person. So I think I'll leave it there. Let's focus on why we are here, to learn about the law and things that pertains with women and the law. And once again, I'm grateful to be given this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Thank you so much. We are honored that you came on our live, right? All right. So we know that with lawyers, time is money. Time is money. So and we cannot afford to pay her. So let's go snappy so we don't waste her time, right? Okay, so she is Ghanaian actually, and I think you practice in Ghana, like you practice just in Ghana. Yeah, so if you're Ghanaian and you need a legal practitioner, you need the services of a legal practitioner, please, you can follow her. And even if you don't need it right now, I think a lawyer, I always say this, for women, you need a lawyer. And it's such a blessing that I'm introducing you to a female lawyer. You guys should pay me for introducing you to her, you guys. So that I'm introducing a female lawyer. It's very difficult to find a female lawyer who is like this sound and all that you can always access her services, right? So if you're not following her, do follow her. She makes content on she talks about law anyway, so just follow her, right? So okay, and even if you're not Ghanaian, follow her for educational purposes. Okay, so our first question is there any if a man and a woman are in a relationship, right? Not marriage, not no child, nothing, just being in a relationship, is there anything like within the law that protects the woman or protects the man in that relationship, right? So let me give you an example. Assuming yesterday we were discussing and we're like, assuming a man promises a woman marriage or vice versa, and the person eventually marries someone else or refuses, can this person, is there any form of protection for the other person to sue in that scenario? And if there is, what are the punishments or what are the consequences of that actions generally within the law?
Okay, so in Ghana, according to Ghana law, we don't really have a particular punishment for somebody who promises to marry you and does not marry you. And it is because under our Ghana law, we have only 3 forms of marriages. We have marriage under the ordinance, that's the church wedding, or we have marriage under Mohammedan law, and then we have marriage under customary law. Our court system is very strict on that, and so it gives very little room to people who are cohabiting. And so let's say in your scenario you've given me, the person promises you marriage. Relying on that promise, you actually end up living with the person, you have children with the person. If there is a family issue and all that, they actually, like a family member dies, if you are legally married, the person they'll bring you, in Ghana, they bring you a coin or sometimes a piece of cloth, and depending on the weight of it and how much they expect you to perform as part of the family, because there is something in law they call it constructive acceptance or consent, where although they haven't married you, the family of the man especially treats you like a wife. And so because of that, you are in the expectation, you are of the expectation that, everything that has to do with the wife, you would perform those duties. But legally, you haven't been married by the man. So in that case, because our laws are very strict on that, in Ghana here, if eventually the person does not marry you, you can go to court and then sue him for something more like a compensation. But it's not like he's committed a crime, because even if you had it on paper that I will marry you, it's a promise. A promise, if he goes against, you can always go to court and say, he promised me that he would marry me, and so because of that, I did AB, relying on that promise, I did ABCD. The family is aware of this ABCD and all that, and because of that, the court can give you a heavy compensation. I'm talking about monetary.
Yeah.
There is a recent case that the decision went all the way to the Supreme Court, where an Italian woman had relied on a promise by a Ghanaian man that he was going to marry her, and so they came to Ghana together. He introduced the Italian lady to their family and everything, and then she went back, and then this man told her that he was going to build a house so that when she comes down and they finally marry, she would have a place to live. And relying on this promise to marry, she went back, sent down money and all that. And this man builds the house only for the man to marry another woman and come and put the woman in the house. She followed and came down to Ghana. And then at the High Court, relying on the strict interpretation of marriage that I have previously explained to you guys, they said they can't do anything for her. She took the matter to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal said, we can't do anything for you. She went to the Supreme Court. And at the Supreme Court, the court ruled that relying on that promise to marry her, she had to work, send down money. She had receipts and everything to show that practically she built the house from her own resources. And so because of that, the court said, yes, he has breached that promise. And so you need to be compensated. The house that was built, you have records to show that you practically built it. So they took the house and gave it to her. But strictly speaking, like I said, because of our strict interpretation about what marriage consists of, it's quite difficult unless you have evidence to prove that indeed the person promised and you relied on. There must be a reliance on that promise. For you to have done ABCD and you have evidence to show that you have done this ABCD, that way you can be compensated when the person finally breaches that promise. And that is the law we have in Ghana currently.
Okay, thank you. So which means she can actually sue, but when you're, just in case you think that gives you hope to enter relationship and follow a man's fake promises, just understand that this woman has money to even pursue the case from one court to another. If you don't have money to reach Supreme Court, Otilo, they've gone with your money. I think it's the same thing in Nigeria as well. Like concerning this particular issue, I think it's the same thing in Nigeria, right?
Okay.
So in marriage, right, like marriage under the act, or what they would call registry or legal marriage, right? Is there any form of protection for women to have that, for women to have the legal marriage done and then the traditional, or either the customary or the religious one, right? Which do you feel is more, or by the law, which one is more protective of women's rights within that marriage?
I will straight away say that to protect yourself as a woman, please just do an ordinance marriage. That is the only answer. And that's the only way to make sure that you stay protected. And the reason why I'm saying this is that whether you marry under customary law or you marry under Mohammedan law, because our law is very silent on the number of marriages a man can enter into under both scenarios, it makes that marriage you're entering into potentially polygamous. When I say potentially polygamous, I mean that it's an ending the number of wives a man can have if you marry such a person under customary or Mohammedan law. Because the law does not put a ceiling that you cannot marry more than one or that. But with ordinance marriage, it is very simple there. It's clearly stated that you can only marry that person. So if the person decides to and before I even go there, because it states that it is only you that he can get married to, the law is very clear that if he marries under you under ordinance marriage, it is just you and no one else. If he marries somebody else, even under customary law, so you have two scenarios. He can be married to you under the ordinance and decide to go to another country or another state and go and marry another person under the ordinance, or he can even be in that same country with you and go and marry somebody under customary law. In both instances, because he married under ordinance and you are not properly divorced in court, he commits bigamy. And that one, he can be in prison for 3 years. That's because that's criminal. Yes. And also because let me put it this way, because in Africa, men are the judges. Let me put it that way. The judges in the courts. I don't know whether it's the same in Nigeria, but it looks like there are more male judges than female judges.
It's the same.
And so it's very difficult when issues of divorce comes up, issues of custody of children comes up, issues of maintenance of the children comes up. It's very difficult for you to really win if you are before a male judge. So you don't, and a male judge who is in total support of marrying more than one wife, it is very difficult trying to prove, I did this with this man, and so I'm entitled to 50% and all that. But when you marry to somebody under the ordinance, like I always tell my clients and potential clients, everything that you acquire with the person, you make sure that your name is on the document. Okay. Even the ones that you don't know, but later on you get to know, make sure that you always document your evidence. It is not that because you think that you are going to be divorced one day, but it's because you just being protective of the future. So you do all those things and you keep it somewhere that you are the only one or somebody very close to you knows about it, because people change in marriages. So when you marry under the ordinance and you protect yourself, every time you be smart in a marriage. So you put things that you know that one day there can be evidence to show your contribution in the marriage, so that if anything should go wrong, you know you have protected yourself. One, because you're married under the ordinance. There is this presumption we call in law the presumption of joint ownership, where it means that anything that is acquired during the time that you were married to the person, there is that presumption that it belongs to the two of you. So you are entitled to 50% automatically of it. That presumption, it doesn't arise when you marry under customary and Mohammedan law. Because the time the man is married to you, he can marry a zillion other women. So if every woman is going to come and say, oh, this property, I also acquired it with him, you are going to really have a bad time trying to even prove your percentage in that property. But when you are married under the ordinance, the judge sitting there, irrespective of his beliefs or anything, the fact that you are married under the ordinance, he would immediately start with that presumption for you that property, once it was acquired, this woman was a housewife, she didn't do any work, she didn't put anything into it, and then now you would have to come up with your evidence to show or rebut whatever he's saying, that you did not contribute that much into the property. So in simple terms, women, let's protect ourselves. Let's get married under the ordinance. You don't have to have a church wedding and then do your 13 people following you as your bridal tray or whatever. But just go to the registry, go and sign and know that you are married under the ordinance, and come and sit at your somewhere. Whenever you want to celebrate your marriage at a later time, you celebrate it. But that singular act of going to the registry to just register your marriage under the ordinance, it saves you forever years of agony and anguish and pain, simply because at least you block that man from bringing in other women to come and fight with you over things that you labored and struggled to acquire when you were married to him. Then that's my answer to this question.
Thank you so much. And to also ask on, there's this part of what you were saying that you were like, write your name on the document of properties that you acquire, right? usually there's
Yeah.
this argument that people will be like, oh, they wrote their name, Mr. and Mrs. somebody, right? So I don't know if you can clear the air for us on writing Mr. and Mrs. James, for instance. Or is it that
No. That is a very wrong thing to do, because there is this case that I did years ago, and the man has said that to this property, to my wife, Mrs. She didn't add her first name, and then when he died, before he died, apparently he divorced the other. No, he separated from the first wife, and then he married a second one. And the second one came in and was saying that wife that has been written there, she's also Mrs. something.
Yes.
And so she was claiming that because she was the one who was there at the time that the man died, then it means she's the one they are talking about. And they had to go back in time, look at the year that the will was done, who was the wife at that time. So I always would advise that, please, don't go and write Mr. and Mrs. James. Write Mr. James, Mr. James Timmy and Mrs. Faustina Timmy, so that everybody forever will know that it is Faustina Timmy we are talking about.
Yes.
We are not talking about any other person but you. And the good thing about this question is that if women are to be that smart to do that, it saves you a lot of hassle, especially when the issue of divorce comes up, because once that name is on it, issues of what is your contribution in the marriage, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, it will not even come up at all. The moment any judge is to see your name on the document, it is just clear, simple. The judge himself will tell you, the parties and the lawyers, that please, the document says Mr. This, Mrs. Faustina Timmy, please, it is 50-50. Don't come and waste anybody's time. Try and settle this matter before you come to court the next agenda date. And even the lawyers, we know that when we see that, we don't have to drag it, because whether you waste your time in court litigating, the end result will be that because of that clearly spelled out name, she is going to get her 50%. Simple.
okay?
So please, ladies,
Yeah,
should do that.
ladies, they should even lose that Mrs. I don't know why women get excited about, oh, Mrs. this. Lose that Mrs. That is the most useless title in the whole world. That Mrs. somebody. That's by the way, right? What if, like, let's say at the time of buying the property, I am Mrs. James, right? And then maybe after the separation and divorce is ongoing, you had changed names already. So maybe I'm now back to Miss somebody, right? What do
Yes.
they like? Can I bring like maybe evidence of my change of name to prove that it was truly me? Does that work?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Under our law we have now, you can always, when you get married, there's nothing forcing you to change your name to Mrs. Timmy. Do you understand me?
Yes.
You can decide not to go officially to go and even change your name. I know for certain that I was married for over 20 years before I decided to go and change my name to Mrs. And it was only because I was having an immigration problem with my documentation. So there is no need for the law does not force you to change your name. If you decide to change your name, like you rightly said, after the divorce, you can always go back. And then first you swear a statutory declaration stating that, oh, before you used to be Miss
yes.
you got married you are now divorced and now you want to be known as Miss, and you state the name you want to be known as. And then you file it, you pay, I think, about 300 Ghana cedis at the where you are supposed to do it, somewhere in Accra. And then it's going to be there for about 21 days. So the 4th week of that month, you go back, they would have printed it in their legal bulletin, and then it will show that now your name is Miss da. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Let me also add that in Nigeria, you can get that done in a day. So if you go today, you can swear the whatever in court today, right? Then If you swear it today, you take it to the newspaper publication kini. After doing it you can get it printed in tomorrow's newspaper. So as long as you did,
Okay.
yeah, so as long as you did it before 3 p.m. today, you can get it by tomorrow morning's newspaper. All right. So
it's not like that in Ghana. In Ghana, the name has to be gazetted. So it takes almost a month for the gazetting to take place. And then you have this gazette booklet that shows that, yes, now under the law, this is your new name and you are supposed to be known as that. And that all previous transactions and anything that you've done with your previous name still holds because it is the same person that you're dealing with. Yes.
Okay.
That's the way it works.
Thank you so much. Lady C said the man will not agree. Listen, ladies, if you're married to a man who they are telling you something that will help you, that will protect you, and the man is not agree, you will not agree. You should know that clearly you're married to your enemy. And that's the more reason you should listen and pay attention and begin to put things in place to protect you. That man that will not agree is clearly your enemy. Clearly. So
Exactly.
whatever it is that it would take you to put in place to make sure that you protect yourself from this man, please do. And by all means, stop having children with men who are like that. That you're telling the person, oh no, changing of name does not help me. It will be a problem for me. It doesn't matter if the person is ignorant. It is not your responsibility to educate him as to why that thing will affect you. If you have explained to him that it will affect you and he's still insisting, it is not your responsibility. And you are even the person that should be putting run away and put divorce in mind. As much as you can, gather what you have to gather and put divorce in mind. Tough. What is
You're very, very right. Because a lot of women stay in those kind of relationships, and it is clearly obvious that everything that the man is doing is not going to inure to their benefit. But they keep staying in there. It's just sometimes, I'm sorry, upset because, I mean, why should somebody who claims that he wants to be married to you for life have a problem with doing these things that seeks to protect your interests? Because we live in a society where men are overly protected than women. And so it is in his own interest to make sure that he does things that when he is not around, you should be covered enough to protect his children as well.
Yeah.
So if you're married to a man,
Lady C,
who
what
does
she's
not
saying
want to
now,
do
what
stuff
she's saying now
that seems
answers
to
your
put
question.
your interest first, and thereby protecting the children should anything go wrong and he's no more there, then you're married to the wrong person. Just as Timmy is saying.
Yeah.
You're just married to the wrong person.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next question is cohabitation, right? Okay, you had initially answered the first part of the question that I wanted to ask, where you said the law does not make any provision to protect you within a cohabitative relationship that is not yet marriage, right? Okay, but if you have children out of wedlock with somebody, right? Let's assume, let me give one scenario now. Assuming the man is a married man, he's married to someone else, because I know somebody who does her story, right? Assuming the man is married to somebody else and he had a child with his side chick and he does not have a will, is this child entitled to some of his properties when he's no longer living? One. Then two, is this woman entitled to some form of child support from this man?
Okay, so the first question is, can you repeat the first question again?
If the child who was born out of wedlock, if the man passes, right, is this child entitled to some of his properties? The child that was born out of wedlock.
The child, yes. A child born out of wedlock. So according to Section 81 of Act 766, which has to do with social security of the man, whether the man nominates you as a dependent or not. What I mean is whether the man states that, okay, so my children I have is 1, 2, 3, 4. And because obviously the child is a side chick's child, he wouldn't want the wife to know. So he cleverly will not even nominate or put his name there. The law says that under this section 81 of that act I'm talking about, which covers the social security law in Ghana, it says that whether he nominates the child or not, whether the child is by a side chick, whether the child is by a legal wife or not, once it is a child of the man, the child, if the man leaves 100,000 Ghana cedis, and the child, that side chick's child, the side chick's child is added to the children. So they are. If originally the man had 4 children with his legal wife, you add this one person to him, and then there are 5, and all the 5 will be entitled to 20,000 of that 100,000. He has equal share to every money that he contributed under the Social Security. In the same way, when it comes to the properties of the man, the side chick's child is also entitled to an equal share of all his properties that he acquired while he was alive. That is my answer to the question. And a lot of the times, a lot of the legal women, legal wives will come crying that no, this is not a legal child and all that. No. But in Ghana, we don't have anything like legal child or illegal child, because in Ghana, as long as the man's family, they come and do the naming of the child, and so by that act, they accept the child as the child of the man. That is a legal child of the man. And so whether he is a child from a side chick or not, he is entitled to equal share of all the man's properties, of all the man's financial acquisitions, everything that the man acquired. It doesn't matter that he's a child of a side chick. He's entitled to equal share, just as the legal wife's children have equal share. That is with the law.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm asking this for people who say, oh, I know my husband is cheating, but I'm the main wife, so. Mind you,
this year there was a conference that was held by SNIT, and I remember that people, it was a lot of hula baloo in Ghana, because I remember the person who was leading that conference has said that, to all the men who think that they are being smart, and they are producing all over the place, and then their wives are also aware, but they are keeping quiet and thinking that, oh, this one, they are not legal children. Be there and not talk. If he has 100 children out there, and you only have one child with him, when he dies, every property, those 100 children will come and take their equal share.
And let me tell you,
and not talk to your men.
A man who cheats, most men who cheat have children out of wedlock. Women tend to think, I used to see this advice that people would be like, the only thing you should do is buy condoms and put in your husband's pocket. Men are not that way. And a lot of men are not as smart as women give them grace for. They are not. So a lot of these men are sleeping with women without protection. Some of them, I've seen several situations where it's after a man dies that you realize he has other children out of wedlock. A lot of men have children out of wedlock. So that man who you know that is cheating today, that man he probably has kids out of wedlock, right? So forget about the bringing diseases home. He also has kids maybe out of wedlock. I have seen those kind of situations a lot of times. So women tend to think, oh, there can be an illegitimate relationship or an illegitimate wife, but there is no illegitimate child.
At all. There is none. Because the child is an innocent victim. I mean, he didn't ask that he should be brought into the world. So why do you come and put your trouble on him? He is an innocent person who came into the world. Once you brought him into the world, you have to take care of him. And so whatever you come up with as your property, if you die, you just have to file an application to the court. The court will say he is a legal child and he's entitled to equal share of whatever the legal wife's children have.
And this is actually the same with Nigeria. This particular one is the same with Nigeria. Nigerian law as
Okay.
well. So the second part of the question is, the woman outside, is she entitled to child support by this man?
Yes, child support for the maintenance of the child, that she is entitled to, but it's not going to her. She is not asking for support for herself. She's asking for support to take care of the child.
Okay.
That one, she's entitled to go to the court and ask for the maintenance of the child. And so she files by way of a motion to the court, and then adduces evidence that yes, this is the child of the man, and I need to take him. I need to take the child to school. He needs to be fed. He needs to be clothed. He needs to. I need money for extracurricular activities that pertains to the child, and the court will gladly do it. But what the court will always look at before granting such applications is that, one, when it has to do with children, we are looking at two factors. The primary factor, which is what is best in the interest of the child.
Okay.
And then the secondary factors will have to do with the age of the child, the views of the child, what is the financial capability of the parties involved. Before, it used to be that whenever you bring an application to court in respect of the maintenance of the child or to support the child, the court will always say the man should be the one to take care. But right now, it looks like the court is moving a little away from that view, in that women are working now. Some women are even earning more than the men.
Yeah.
So a side chick can be any more than even the man. Okay. So if they are saying that if we are going to still remain at the point where we say everything should be borne by the man, sometimes it is not too fair. So usually they'll ask the parties to file their respective interest. It's called an affidavit of interest and liabilities, where you put on paper whatever job you are doing, how much you earn, whatever properties you have, and then as against your liabilities, what are your liabilities towards your parents, to other people, and what other things that you are into. Maybe you can be in school, so you're paying fees on the side and all that. The court will consider for the man and you, the side chick, who have even brought the application to the court. And after examining all that and looking at what will best suit the interest of the child, the court will finally come to a conclusion that, okay, I have taken into consideration all these primary and secondary factors, and I believe that in the interest of the child, this amount should be cut out for the man to pay you, the side chick, to take care of the child. Sometimes the court will go further and say, okay, the man should take care of everything that has to do with the educational expenses of the child. And then because you also work and you are earning some money, why don't you also take care of the extracurricular activities of the child? Maybe, and that way there's sort of like a balance. So, but we always have to bear in mind that it depends on the man we are talking about. The financial capability of the man is very important. As a side chick, I am believing that for you to even reduce yourself to a side chick, then you know that the man that you are dating is somebody of influence, somebody who has financial prowess. And so if the person is a minister, obviously, then you are looking at a big cut for you as a financial contribution to take care of the child. Equally, if you decide to go and be a side chick to a farmer, then know that when you go,
I was about to say that to those who do sugar daddies with broke men.
yeah,
You're singing and you cannot even sing right.
But if they do that, they also know that when you go and you're looking for child support, then you know the support you are going to be getting. So if you decide to go that angle of a side chick, please, like I said to everybody, do it and do it well. Because in life,
If you
whatever
must-
you decide to do it and do it well.
There's one saying in my tribe that they say if you must eat frog, make sure you eat the one with oil. So with fat.
Yoruba would say it's the one that has eggs.
Yeah. Yeah. So you cannot come and do some head side chick because of love. Oh my God. I almost threw out my family business because I have a brother who had a side chick, and I just started laughing as soon as I heard she was pregnant and she had twins because How much is this guy going to give you? Now she's struggling with the children and she's threatening to on her life herself and on her life the kids.
Oh
So
my
if you want to be a
gosh.
side chick, better look for somebody that has fat in his body. Okay, and I like the part where she also explained that you would also contribute to the rearing of these children, because women tend to think because you had a child, because women say I had a child for this man. You're saying you had a child with the man, not for the man, right?
Yeah.
So women
Yeah.
think the court can just force a man. I used to believe so as well, like so many years ago, until I had a cousin who became pregnant. I didn't even know it was my cousin. It was much later that we held on to the friendship that I knew she was my cousin. She got pregnant by this guy, and the guy abandoned her, and we went to social welfare with the case. They do not force these men to pay child support, right?
No.
Because they are
No.
expecting that you too will contribute, so he will not pay you 100%. And also,
Yeah.
is it possible for a man to hide his assets or his money in a way that even when you know that the man has certain properties or he has this amount of money, there are men who know how to hide that from the law, where even when they go to calculate that child support thing, they will be like, oh no, he does not have that much money, so you're not going to uh you're not going to you would also have to contribute, right? Is that possible? Can you
Yeah.
help us explain that a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit?
yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of men who do that. I mean, there's been instances where I've had to go behind the law and then dig information to show um, because of maintenance, he said he was not working, and the law would only ask him to pay so much out of whatever he's earning. So if he comes to court and he says he's not earning anything, then the court will be forced to just put something little for him to pay you, because there is no earnings or income before the court
Yeah.
to actually say that, oh, he earns X amount of CDs, and so because of that, we're taking that much as his contribution. So there are some men who intentionally come to court and say that they don't work, or even pretend that they don't own any property, so that they will get away from that responsibility. So it is very important as a woman to be very vigilant when you are with a guy. Don't be lovey-dovey and then don't
Forget yourself.
not be smart. You need to be smart all the time. Know everything that is happening, because in this particular instance, I had to call a friend, and then the person gave me information that, wait, are you saying this man that? No. Recently, he opened an account. Let me cross-check. And when we cross-checked, that account led us to find out that apparently he was even working with a mining company in Ghana and earning close to, if you're converting it to dollars, he's earning close to $8,000 or $9,000 a month.
Wow.
And this man is standing before the court and saying that he does not work. So in this case, we had to come back to court. Legally, you cannot give such information in open court, because that is personal
Information.
bank account
Yeah.
details. But you can say, oh, I know for certain that he works at this place, he earns so much. Why don't you check with that court? Why don't you make an order to this particular institution and find out from them that does this man work over there? The court, because you have that information and you throw it out there, the court will want to investigate into it. And he wouldn't want to have a problem with his workplace. That is the time that he was able to come out clean and tell the court that yes, but he only started the work just this month that we are before the court. And so he has not even been confirmed. So it is very possible. My answer to this question is that it's very possible for men, some men, to do this and hide that information. And it is very important for women to ensure that whenever they are with a man, they keep their eyes sharp and know everything about the man so that he doesn't play that fast card on you, because it is very, very easy for them to play that card. And for you to be able to get him to do what you want, you must have evidence. You must have evidence, because without evidence, you cannot get him to do what he wants. You want him to do. And the court cannot also force him to do what he wants unless you are able to provide that evidence. Women, we just need to be smart.
I just love
That's
this
it.
thing that you just said, that the court cannot force him to do what you want him to do.
Yes.
And I want women
Yes.
to put that at the front of their head, not the back. Put it at the front of your head. Men have privileges within the society. And a part of that privilege is the fact that they don't have to be at the receiving end of anything. Men are not at the receiving end of anything. And you should bear that in mind. And let me tell you, the most uneducated man that you know knows a little bit about the law and how to protect himself. It is women who enter relationship without the knowledge of the law or how to protect themselves. Every man you know knows a lawyer. He may not know him personally, but they do know a lawyer. If today, what case comes to case, they have access to a lawyer. A lot of women, I'm telling you, a woman can marry and rise to position of power and not have a lawyer. Women, get a lawyer before you get in an intimate relationship with a man. No lawyers, no female lawyers, most especially. I used to tell women that even when you're getting a lawyer, get a female lawyer, and get a female lawyer who you know that that has sense, that is deconstructing the patriarchy and the rest, right? Now, if you were on this live yesterday, okay, no, let me not say that.
Don't say anything.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Before we move on from child support matter, can we also let men know that it's not only men that pay child support? If you have a child with a
I was even going to get there.
custody and court grants him custody, you might be the one paying child support.
And that includes that even if a man has money, he can actually still, even if a man is rich and he can still collect child support from you. It may not be as much as what he will pay you if he has money, but he can still collect something, right? Barrister, am I right?
In our law courts, like I said, the issue of financial capability of the two people is very important. It's a very big determining factor when it comes to child support, because the court will only give out of what you earn, basically. Let me put it that way. Other secondary factors like, where is the child going to stay? Who has a better house for the child to stay in? What is the age of the child? What is the personal views of the child? All those things will be considered before it comes to who should have custody and who should have access. Because under Ghana law, we have custody and we have access. I don't know about Nigeria, but when these factors have all been considered, at the end of the day, the court will not say that, so because the child says that I want to live with my mother, so then the child automatically go to the mother. The child wants to go to the mother. Does the mother have a good place to raise the child? Is very important. What school is the child going to go? Does the mother what the man is going to contribute towards the school fee paying of the child? If the man has today, the man dies or something, would the woman be able to continue with the payment of the fees? All those things are factors that will be considered before the court will finally say that this person should have custody and that person should have custody. And also, when it comes to maintenance of the child, all these factors that I've already stated are also considerations that to be made before you would say that let this person pay that or that, because the underlying rule when it comes to financial provision is the court can only make pronouncements on a person based on what the person earns. That is why I keep saying this thing, and I'm saying it again, that it is very important for the women because you're talking women here.
Yes.
It's very important for women to always be in the know of the capabilities of the man, because if you want the best for yourself and your child when you are before the court, it means that you must have the evidence to show that indeed the man is capable of providing A, B, C, D for the court to tow your angle. Other than that, a lot of the men will come and pretend that they don't have the financial means, and then everything will be shifted on you, the woman, to do it. Meanwhile, you know that this man can provide, but he's just being smart. So it is very important for we, the women, to always, when we are in relationships or with the men, try and always know everything about the man. And try, it's not like you have become an investigative journalist, but try and protect yourself to know these things and keep records. Keep records, because most of the time when things start to turn sour, you would realize from my experience is that a lot of these men, they start hiding information. If they have documents that has your name on it, I'm telling you, 99% of them will start hiding those documentation, changing the names. If they are in the two of you, your names, he will take them and go and change them into only his name, because he has an agenda to make sure that you don't get what you deserve. So if you are a smart woman, I would always advise that make sure that you have copies of every documentation that has your interest in it, and keep it somewhere safe, because if you have that documentation, and assuming it is in the name of you and your spouse, and you come before court, he thinks he's been smart. He changed everything into his name, and then he tenders those documents in court. And you, being smart, you make copies and you tender yours into court. Immediately, you are cast doubt about him to the judge. And because of that, everything he says before the court will not hold it as 100%, because already he's tainted his character with whatever information you brought before the court. But if you are not smart enough to have photocopies of these documents, how are you going to prove to the court that, oh, this thing that is brought to the court, that it is only for him? Apparently, you acquired it, the two of you, and it is in your joint names. There have been many instances that women who were smart enough to do that, and I still have a case like that. And because the woman was smart enough to have photocopies of those documents that shows that they were in their joint names, now every document that the man brought before the court ruled that, look, all your documents are fictitious. Here is the real evidence that shows that these documents clearly shows that they were acquired by the two of you. So you were just trying to outsmart the court. Yeah. And that alone will make the court not even want to listen to you, the man, at all. But if you're not smart to do things like this, then you let a lot of men get away with this kind of behavior that they put up in court. I hope everybody is getting the picture.
Yes, thank you. We're going to be taking questions, but okay, Ola, you can ask your questions, and then there are like two other people that I wanted to. Abby, welcome.
Yeah. So my follow-up question is this. The reason I wanted us to speak about this child support / custody thing is that women assume that as moms, they are just, especially if the child is still very, very young, right? Thank you, Abby. Like if the child is like 2 years old or even younger, they think, oh, it's a no-brainer. They will have custody, they will get child support. Now, I want to ask, in a case where, maybe the man has
Senke, you can send requests. I will accept you later so that you can ask your question. Go on, Ola.
The man has been somewhat, maybe emotionally abusive, and the woman reacts to that abuse in a violent way and all of that. And maybe verbally abuses the man or even physically assaults him and stuff, and the man is recording all of this all on camera. Can it be used in court to try to tell the court that this woman is mentally unstable and not fit to be the primary caregiver of the children.
Yes, to answer that, I would say that once it is there's a case ongoing in court, each party is free to tender whatever evidence they want to tender. So he has a legal right to tender that. But what is important is that the court system is structured in such a way that immediately you raise the issue of mental instability of the party before the court. The court is mandated to refer the matter to a psychiatric center. So an order will be made, the woman will be examined, and a whole test will be conducted. She'll go for sessions. You, the person that you even said that the woman has mental whatever, you yourself, you also be asked to go and conduct it. And then a report will be made and tendered in court for the judge to know whether what you have said about the woman and as against yourself is even true, to consider it. When the report is brought to the court, the chief psychiatric officer will have to present it and tender it before the court. He will then have to be asked follow-up questions for him to give us a clear, because we are lawyers and judges, we are not medical professionals. So he will have to break it down to our level and explain whatever he's conducted and tell the court what it means. At the end of the day, after we've asked him our questions, then the court will finally come to the conclusion that indeed the woman suffers from mental instability or not. So it's not just by just tendering evidence in court and then saying it, and then the court will just take it hook, line, and sinker. No, it doesn't work that way.
But also, especially for
evidence before the court will have to go into it and make orders, and it has to be gone into for the court to come to a final conclusion that whatever you have asserted is true or not.
I think it's great that the court does that. Now, I want to address the woman, not the lawyer now. Not Marigold. I want to address the woman. It's great that the court does that maybe to be fair and not run into conclusions about the person's mental stability. But as a survivor of narcissistic abuse in marriage, I can tell you for sure that kind of abuse actually makes you crazy.
Yeah. So they can go and check you and see that
when they check you, they will know that you are not okay mentally. Yeah. That the abuse makes you that way.
So sorry, and guys, I'm just having breakfast.
They have a PhD in manipulation. They will sit in front of a mental health professional and completely deceive and manipulate that mental health professional. That even the person that went to school for this stuff will not know that they are manipulators. You understand? Me, I know that when I was about to leave that marriage, I don't even need anybody. I knew I was crazy. Okay? People that have known me all my life, they were concerned about my mental stability. Like, people I went to school with, they were concerned for my mental health. So even me, I knew that even trying to describe the reason why you acted in a particular way will make you sound even more crazy. You trying to say, oh, the reason why, blah, blah, blah. The more you are trying to explain, the more unstable you sound. So I'll just say that if you find yourself in that kind of relationship where you are starting to acting out in a certain way, please, I don't want you to think, well, Shebi, they will examine us and they will know that it's the crazy one. It might not work in your favor that way. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
You will be right in that respect, because I always say to people that whenever abuse comes into the picture, that is your sign to walk out. Don't stay and then wait till the abuse becomes death for you. So there are various forms of abuse. Sometimes even verbal abuse can hit your very soul. And so if it gets to that level where you think that you cannot function as a human being because of the nature of the abuse, it's the best time to just walk away than stay there, and then the abuse that's being meted out to you, it turns you into something that you don't even want to be.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much. Love OC, please. You can also send a request so that I will bring you up for your question as well, right? So let me get the next question, please. Somebody was asking yesterday that are there prenups like within the law in Ghana? Are there provisions for prenup and postnups, like prenuptial agreement and postnuptial?
No, unfortunately, this is Africa. We don't do stuff like that. So in Ghana, we don't have prenup and we don't have postnup.
Okay.
No, we don't.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
Okay. So somebody said, can you deny a man access to his kids because he does not pay child support or take any responsibility of the kids?
Access to what?
Can you deny a man access to the kids because he does not pay child support?
Yes and no. Let me put it out.
Okay.
Okay, so legally you cannot, because the child is also his child. So you can't say that simply because he does not pay child support, you are going to deny him access. But I always say that there is the law and then there is the law. So the law says you cannot. But in reality, that's what actually happens, because a lot of the times the man can, most of the time, let me put it that way, the men can provide, but they are not doing it. Because for me, the mentality is that once a man wakes up and he eats and feeds himself, he clothes himself, then automatically he should know that if he has kids, they should also be fed and they should also be clothed. They should have a place to lay their heads. So if he's comfortable to do all that for himself and he is not willing to do it for the child, I would advise my clients to deny him access, which I do. And I always say that is not what the law says, but to do it as a form of punishment to him, so that it forces him to come and do the right thing. So there be a lot of instances that my clients have denied the man access to the children. Some of the men come to court later on and even come and tell the judges that, oh, this woman is not giving me access to the child. And a lot of the judges of today would, the first question to ask the man is that, have you been taking care of the kids? Have you been paying their fees? Have you been, and then they go like, oh, and things are hard, and they go that way. And then the judge goes like, please do what you have to do, and I'm sure the woman will give you access to the children. And that is how far we've come with the law right now, especially with if you happen to come before a female judge, she would always support this move that don't give him access to the children because he's not doing what he needs to do to support the children. Yes. But under the law, like I said initially, that is not the law. That's not the position. You can't do that. You have to give him access. But you can choose not to do it and push him to do the right thing. That's my answer to that question.
Thank you very much. So she's just telling you how to rugged it, but I think there are countries that can penalize you for doing that, right? Okay.
Well,
so
I don't know. I don't know. You know, in Africa, the law is not as strict as
other countries,
the law that applies in the UK and in the US. They don't care whether you work or not. They don't want to know. You are supposed to pay child support. So you have to pay child support. If you don't pay, they deal with you very radically. But in Africa, it is not like that. Before, we used to have a law in Ghana where when they say you should pay X amount of cedis for child support and you don't pay it, they can actually arrest you and imprison you. And because of that fear of being arrested and imprisoned, a lot of the men were paying child support. But after a while, the same lawmakers came back and said that It is not a criminal offense not to take care of your child by not paying the child support. So that arresting and imprisoning makes it look like a criminal offense. And so they took that criminality aspect out of it by saying that, okay, you no more be arrested and imprisoned. Just do the needful and let all sleeping dogs lie. But because of they took away the criminality aspect of it, a lot of the men are not doing what they have to do. At the end of the day, what can you do to him? Nothing. If he's not paying, what can you do? Nothing, practically. Yes. You can't do much. Unless you have evidence to prove that he can actually do it and he's not doing it.
Black Rose said it is criminal for you not to take care of a helpless being. That is because you're a woman. Those lawmakers are men.
Yeah.
That's what you should know. The lawmakers are men.
The lawmakers are men.
So that's why I tell you that as women go to school,
they do laws that seems to favor men, that seems to protect men more than women. Always have that at the back of it. As someone said, Timmy says you should put it in front of your head.
Yes.
So put it in front of your head that every law is done mostly, if you look at the committee that sits down to come up with the law, even in our parliaments, how many women are there? How many? Only a few women do politics and become parliamentarians. It's mostly men who draft these laws. And they are drafting it, taking into consideration the fact that if we don't draft it very well, at the end of the day, it will be used against us. So we have to draft it in a way that even when it's going to be used against us, it has to favor us.
This is to women who tell you feminism this, feminism that. Some of us that are radical feminists that can speak. We have people like Barrister Marie, where we will speak and defend their honors to push them to go and practice law till they get to parliament and are able to make laws that favors women. Abi Barrister.
That is it.
A lot of us that are radical feminists, if we contest for anything, we will lose. They will not vote us. But I like women who know they are feminists. We will do the dirty job. We will do the radical work. We will do the radical work. They will promote our agenda when they get there.
Yeah.
So if you're a woman and you're listening to all these people telling you feminism is bad, you can see the laws that men sit down. Men don't think critically. Men lack critical thinking abilities. You should know that.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about uneducated men. I'm not talking about the misogynistic men on the internet. Every single man that you know lacks critical thinking capacity or capabilities. Men don't think like women, and that includes your pastor, that includes Barack Obama, that includes any man that you know, including your own husband, anybody that is listening to me, as long as they are men. Their socialization deprives them from thinking critically. You as a woman, you have that critical thinking capacity. Do not let men teach you how to be a woman. That's the last thing, that's the worst thing you will do for yourself. So before they tell you, don't support feminism. I saw a video yesterday where a guy who was in his 30s that is dating a 19-year-old girl saying, oh, he likes them young because he's teaching her things, and she was there smiling that he's teaching her things, that now he's teaching her that feminism is bad. You can see how they dedicate their time to teach you things that stands against you. Now men will see that. How can you tell me that you gave birth to a child and it is not a criminal offense that you can't take care of that child? It should be a criminal offense. But shebi we women, we know. Do men know that? They don't. I have a family member.
As much as they lack that critical thinking, though, women don't be deceived, though. When it comes to
wickedness,
if I build this house with my wife, have access, like with the law, say that I have to share with her. They know that.
They know that one. They know corniness, but they lack critical thinking in the right direction. And then you guys would even think,
because a lot of the women too when properties are being made, they at that time I think they are in a loving mood.
Yeah.
So instead of thinking that okay, from scratch that we are building or acquiring these properties, let me be smart every step of the way with it. They will be in that lovey-dovey mood, and meanwhile, at the time that you are in that mood, the man is not in that mood. Oh. He has already planned in his head that I am acquiring this thing for myself. But you are there, sitting down and thinking that, oh, he loves me, so it is for the two of us. Please, women, we need to stop thinking that way. Stop thinking that way. Every time,
barrister, do we not?
The man is also thinking.
Yeah, do we not have women on this app coming here to say, I love that I can turn off my brain anytime my man is around, I can turn off my brain. Anytime I see that video, I just want to hit my head against the wall. When women come and say things like that, I'm telling you, because what made you think a man would think about you before he thinks about himself? You must be audacious to think so.
Exactly.
I think another thing that happens, because women tend to think, oh, the men that do this kind of things just happen to be wicked. They are the wicked ones. Women project their own meanings onto men. You think so when they say love, you think it's the idea of love that you have in your head is what the man. I will tell you that a man hiding funds from you does not consider that as him not loving you. A man will love you and still hide funds from you. That's why you have to get in the brain of men if you want to if you want to protect yourself. A man will tell you that there is no woman on earth that he loves as much as his wife, and he's being honest, and he will still be sleeping with 6 other women. To him, that does not mean he doesn't love his wife. It is women that will say, no, that means he doesn't love. As far as he is concerned,
he loves you.
He loves you. So a man will love you and hide assets from you. He will love you and not put you in his will. He will love you and not make arrangements for your children to be cared for if he passes. And he will love you.
But that is not love. That is not love.
But they don't care. Men don't care.
Say that he's loving you in that.
I'm not saying it's love. I'm saying this is how
they think. See, the fact that a man is letting you eat under his roof, he thinks that's the highest form of love and sacrifice. I'm telling you.
So, because if we don't make that clear, these women will keep thinking, oh, that's if you marry a bad, wicked man. So that's why we try to make it clear to them that even a quote-unquote good man that truly loves you in his own understanding of love will do these things. The fact that he's not abusing you and maltreating you to him means that he loves you. All this hiding of assets and stuff, he doesn't consider it as, oh, I shouldn't hide this from the woman I love. Like, his brain is just not computing in that way.
A husband of my family member said over his dead body that he reveals his assets to a woman. And the same man moves about telling people how much he loves his wife.
I see. And those are the very men that when anything goes wrong, sometimes, because they've hidden all these things away from their wives, innocent people rather take those things. Because you didn't reveal them to your wife. So you think you're hiding it from her so that she doesn't know your assets. But then you probably end up telling your friends rather instead of your spouse. Sometimes they don't even tell anybody. It is just they and their head that they know. So some third person who chances on it after his death just takes it and then squanders it because you don't think they're being smart, and he ended up with somebody who did not even work for anything. It could have ended up with your wife and your kids, would have benefited from it.
And this man has
been a plain man.
She has 4 kids with this man. She has 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Oh. Interesting.
For those of you in Nigeria, especially people from Southeast, where you are getting married, but it's all your dusty uncles that are coming to sit down and decide what your bride price will be. Even your father has little input, right? It's all these dusty uncles that you don't even know where to place them on your family tree. But they are all family. And they are the ones that sit down and decide, oh, your husband is going to buy 100 crates of beer and this is what it must be, or else you cannot marry this man. If all of that is happening and your father is just, he's not even the one in the position saying all those things, right? Like they just submit to it like, okay, this is tradition. And you are marrying a man from that culture. What makes you think... What makes you think, oh, this man will just protect my interest in marriage all through? He too is a product of that culture. That means that when he's writing his will, he might be thinking about his brothers, thinking about even his father, thinking about all those dusty uncles before he thinks about you and the children you give him.
This guy that I'm talking about, his cousin is actually his next of kin.
No, I'm not even from the Southeast, and my ex-father-in-law was my ex's next of kin. We had 2 children. His father was his next of kin because, I don't know, maybe he was expecting his father to outlive him. And this is a brilliant man, okay? An accountant.
Please, NK. Nurse NK, you can unmute your mic.
Okay.
Love OC, please send a request to ask your question.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I have like 3 questions, please.
Okay, let's take you one at a
My
time.
name. You said?
Let's take you one at a time. Let her answer, then you ask
Okay.
another one.
Okay. The first one is, you said something about finances.
Yeah.
That if a case gets to court about child support, that the finances of both parties will be checked, and the one that is higher will pay more or what. So if the lady's money is higher, that maybe she earns more than her husband, does it mean that the man won't pay child support?
Okay, so to answer that question, I will say that the man will pay child support. But like you rightly pointed out, I said that the court will always look at the financial capability of both parties. Now, if the woman earns more than the man, clearly, the court would say, assuming the woman is the one who brought the application and she's looking for, let's say, $1,000. If she earns so much more than the man, it's clear that the court will not grant her the entire 1,000. The court will say you earn even more than the man. So why don't we give you 600? You pay rather 600 and then the man pay only 400, or the man should pay 400 and then take care of maybe, apart from the money, maybe school fees of the child or something else. Because the underlying factor that the court will always use is that the court cannot give what the man cannot afford. If the man is earning thousands, he files his affidavit of interest and liabilities, and he shows clearly that out of the $1,000, he also has other responsibilities apart from the child. That it takes about, let's say, 500 Ghana cedis out of the $500 out of the $1,000, and he's left with $500. He has to feed himself. He has to feed the child that you say he should feed. Those ones, because the court can make an order only in respect of what is presented before it. So if that you are saying that, oh, we have $100,000 worth of shares in this company, but maybe you don't have any documentation to prove that, and the man comes and says it's not true, we never had any financial interest in this company. Unless you have evidence to prove that what you are saying is the truth, the court cannot say that, then take $50,000 of that financial interest. But if you are able to present that evidence, that means that you have uncovered that hidden, the man was hiding to the court. That way, once you present it, the court will take your 50% and give it to you. That is what I was saying.
Okay, so that one is, thank you so much. Then, in the case of the woman aspect, let's say the woman has some hidden funds the man had no idea about. So, there's no need for her to bring it forward, right? And there's no need for it to be brought up.
If you deem it right to bring the man's hidden assets, why do you think that it should not, the woman's soul should not be brought to the attention of the court?
You know, the problem is that women think the domestic responsibility, the fact that you can get pregnant, a man cannot, you give birth, a man cannot. Women think there's a legal, women think that gives them some form of a right for the man to pay them or to give them access to the man's money. It doesn't. It
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't.
And
It
there is
doesn't.
no
You know, in the
legal
olden days,
compensation
it was
for
like
that.
because a lot. No. We moved from that era where women should be sitting there and thinking that it is the man's job to settle me when we are divorcing. It is the man's job to take care of the children when we are divorcing.
Sometimes
That
you can
era
be
we are
divorcing and they will share your own property. They will share your own property. They will share your own.
That now we move from that era because the court is now of the opinion that women have been empowered. Women are no more sitting at home. Women are working. Some women even are presidents. They are making money more than men right now. And so that era of sitting down and thinking that, oh, when we divorce, it is the man's job to give me.
I'm telling
it is
you,
out of the question.
if women know the law, they will stop having children and stop marrying men. If you actually know the law. I'm telling you the
It
truth.
is no more that way. In fact, I know a lot of cases where even the women were the ones who had to pay alimony to the men.
Yes. Oprah Winfrey is paying at Oprah
They paid
Winfrey.
so much, and the man doesn't have anything to his name. So the man was bold enough to ask for alimony, and the court granted him alimony.
They
So
will.
Please, that
Please,
thing should be
help us
scrapped.
explain.
There's nothing like
Help us.
it is the man's job to give you. No.
Help me to explain this alimony issue, because when you just say alimony, they seem to not understand what it means. You will pay the man. Help us to explain it, please.
If you make more money than him, or especially for all these women that are married to men that are very, very lazy, right? Like they do the bare minimum, so they have little to no income. And you are playing the supportive wife and everything. You don't even have to be the one filing for divorce. Once he's ready to move on to another woman, he can divorce you and you will have to pay him alimony.
Yes. Tolulope says it sounds funny. As funny as it sounds, it's not funny. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Yes,
I know you guys follow pop culture. This Adele, like if you follow celebrity culture in the US, that is what those men do. They will marry all these wealthy actresses and musicians and stuff, and then after they will be, they will be serial cheaters.
Look at one baking.
Like, okay,
Look at one baking in the comment section. Say that we will have woke up.
Now women are paying alimony because it's not only in abroad that women are paying alimony. Even in Africa, once you earn more than the man, I'm telling you.
I know a woman who is paying alimony in Nigeria. I know a woman paying alimony in Nigeria. Let me burst your bubble. I know a woman paying alimony in Nigeria to a man.
There are some of these women in the US that pay $50,000 a month to a stupid guy they married that cheated on them all through the marriage. And now that they are divorced, they are paying this man $50,000 a month. Okay, so when you see all this noise on social media where they say, oh, that woman is a gold digger because she had a baby for that man and now she's claiming to want his money, it's because the women that are paying these crazy amounts in alimony are not shouting about it. And women don't know. Me, I don't care about celebrities. But when it comes to their divorce and who is
Yes,
paying
in
who, I
Nigeria.
pay attention.
Okay, the third question now is
You know, sorry, no, thank you. Before you
The
continue,
problem
I
is
just
that,
remember
right, women are the ones that are women tend to say, oh, I know the law. If we go to court now, they will not do it. Nigerian women are fond of doing that thing. Nigerian men are shameless in court. I'm telling you, they are shameless, they are ruthless. So that calm man that you think you know that you married, that sweet, calm, loving man, enter court and see the level of shamelessness these men exhibit in court. Enter there and
even
see.
if you think your husband is wicked, is abusive, and that's why you are leaving him, you don't even know his wickedness yet until you get to court. You don't really know how bad he is until you get to court. I know a Nigerian lady that she had filed for divorce before me. I even thought of leaving my own marriage. She filed for divorce. They've been on this matter for like 5 years. It's still not been finalized. My husband has a great job. The guy works in oil and gas. He's not a poor man. But do you know that he's dragging this woman's inheritance with her? These people are not a young couple, though. Their kids are like, late teens, early adulthood. The inheritance that this lady got from her father when her father, this man dragging it with her in divorce courts, and he's not even a poor guy.
You as a woman, you think it's about the money, right? Women usually, when it comes to, they think as if everything is about the money. It is not always about the money for a man. A man who you are trying to divorce wants to hurt you because the pain he feels is as if his slave escaped from him. So he's trying to drag you as much as he can and hurt you as much as he can. So it doesn't matter if he can afford it or not. It's about control. But it shouldn't even bother you what it is about. You should be more worried about how to protect yourself as a woman. That's why when I see a 22-year-old, 23-year-old girl getting married and dancing, I'm like, what the actual F is wrong with this one? Ola, please, if I block this guy on my own, he no go sweet me. Please, go ahead and ask your next question.
Okay, the third question now is like, let's say for instance, the property was bought in both of you's name. The property was bought by both of you, but he went behind and put only his name. So when you eventually found out and you asked, okay, why is it like that? It became a problem. So now, and there's literally no how to get a hold of the property. So how can you use that as an evidence?
Okay, so thank you for your question. I would say that if you initially bought the property, you were given receipts for the payment, right?
Yeah.
And that payment, was it in the name of the two of you? Because you said you both bought it.
We both
at that
bought the
stage, that
property.
receipt, was it in the name of the two parties?
So, like, okay, how do I say this now? Both property was bought with a joint account,
Yes.
but the name on the receipt was his name.
Oh, okay. So in that case, you still don't have a problem with that, because once the money is coming from a joint account bearing the names of both parties, that is good enough evidence to show that yes, that money came from a source that belonged to the two of you, and so you contributed to that property. So if later on you realize that he put the documentation, he put only his name on it, once you're able to also use that piece of evidence, which is the bank statement, to show that that money came from that joint account, that is good enough evidence to show you're 50% in the property.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate
You're welcome. Those are all your questions, Abby.
Yeah.
Okay, you can step down so that get someone
Yeah,
else.
I will. Thank you.
All right, thank
I
you.
also feel like women don't understand that if you buy something with your spouse, or even if you buy it with your, like, if when you say, "Oh, we bought this together," that could be in your head, you know, that you people bought it together.
That's true.
You could even be the one that brought the money, but because you want your man to feel like a man, you will be like, "Oh, we bought it together." It, it will still all boil down to evidence and paper, no be so. So those that buy things in their husband's name and all these things to make him not feel
Emasculated. I wonder why it is your duty to make a man feel emasculated or not emasculated. A man who is let me just keep. You are a man from birth. If they gave birth to you as a man, you are a man. It's not me giving you my money that makes you a man. You get, even irresponsible men are men. Hope you guys know. Irresponsible men are men. It's not your responsibility to make a man feel like a man. So you see all these rubbish messages that you will hear. Oh, make your man feel like a man. Do this for a man to feel like. It is not your duty to make a man feel. If he does not feel like a man, let him go and take hormonal medications, or let him go and be transgender or whatever he wants to be. You get, it is not your duty. If he does,
his body part is male, he's a man.
He's a man.
His body part is male, he's a man.
He's a man. Portable na man. Every man that you know is a man. Please, Love OC, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello. I really want to thank you all for this very enlightening session.
You're welcome.
And my question, let me just give you a quick background. I'm divorced and I have a child, and he has lived with me ever since. There's no child support or anything, so I take good care of him. And then recently, I found out that his father had traveled out of the country. So, of course, I have to move on with my life and my career. And so I got a job outside of Nigeria. But the problem is the immigration people are requesting for papers from the father before I can take away this child. And right now, I don't know where his father is. Even the father's people, I don't know anything about them because it's been like 4 years now since I heard from them last. So I was thinking, is there anything I could do as regards the law? Can I go to court and probably seek sole custody or full custody of the child so that I can proceed with whatever I have to do?
Let barrister give you legal
Okay, so-
advice before me I give you street advice.
Okay. So that means that when you got divorced, what was it, a joint custody you were given in respect of the child?
Yes, it was a joint custody.
It was a joint custody. That is why you have that problem. But I don't know the law that applies in Nigeria, but in Ghana, if you do not hear from the father of the child for about 7 years, the law presumes that he is dead, and so he does not basically exist. You swear a statutory declaration to that effect, and the court will then obviously take him off as also a custodian of the child, and then make you only the sole custodian of the child. I don't know the number of years that applies in Nigeria, but I would advise that in the circumstances that you find yourself, you should get hire the services of a lawyer, go to court, have the case recalled by filing a motion, swear to an affidavit, and let the court know what is happening, the current situation right now, and the fact that for the past 4 years, you do not know of the existence of the child. Meanwhile, these are the things that you need to do in respect of the child. And so because of that, they should take off the joint custody and make you the full custodian of the child. I believe that if you go through that legal procedure, the court would change the joint custody and make you the sole custodian of the child. That way, it makes things easier for you to follow up with the process.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'm in for the street advice.
I was actually about to say, tell them that the man is no more, is dead. And if they ask you for death certificates, go to any local hospital and collect.
That would even be easier.
No, go and follow this legal one. I don't think it's that difficult.
Okay.
Go and follow the legal one, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome. I think that at this stage, if I can beg and take leave of you guys.
No, Law and more.
Okay, please. Can you ask quickly so that she can go? Oh, so sorry.
Let me answer this question before I leave.
Let me ask you this question quickly, because I've been hearing a lot of
So Miss Ola, send a request quickly.
saying on this app that yes, when we buy the properties, we will use the children's name. And I personally feel that is a way to dupe the women, yeah? And women are buying into it because the men are saying that they are using the children's name. So what's your take on that? Like your legal expertise on that, as far as men deciding to use the names of the children instead of the two couples involved in the marriage?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. I would say that legally, once the property was acquired by the husband and the wife, it should be in the names of the husband and the wife. But you see, the problem is with a lot of women. As long as we have what is the legal position and we have what two parties can also decide or agree on what they want to do. As long as some women continue to buy into this concept that, once it is being put into the name of my child, it is okay with me, then it means that she has consented to whatever the man is doing. And so if he does it, and then now you come back and you're saying that, why did he do that? He did it because it is okay with the woman for him to do that. In fact, a lot of women, it's not just what I think a lot of women are beginning to support that concept that once it is in the name of the child, it is for me now, so it is okay. So they allowing the men to continue to buy property, or they both work so hard, they get these properties, and they allow the man to put it into the children's name. But they forget that as long as it is in the name of the child's name, once the child attains the age of maturity, which is in Ghana, for instance, is 18 years, that is the age of maturity, that property now automatically becomes the child's own. For the period that the child is not 18 or an adult, you are like a guardian for the child. And so you're taking care of property.
And husband for years, let's say 5 years thereabouts, and they have children together. And then one day the man woke up and said, I'm no longer interested in the marriage. Perhaps you're not looking nice or something like that. Just excuse me. I want her out of the house. And they've been living for a while together and they're legally married. Is there any compensation or supposed to pay for anything for her to just live like that or something like that? I want to understand the legal implication.
Okay. Barrister, did you hear that?
The woman who is legally married to the man and the man kicks her out of the home
because he no longer finds her attractive. Is there anything you want to know, if there is punishment for the man or there is compensation for the woman, Abby?
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Okay, thank you for the question. So if he wakes up one day after 5 years and he says that he's kicking you out of the house, is that the question?
Yes.
That he's kicking you out of the house. Okay, so legally he cannot even kick you out of the house. He doesn't have that right. If he decides to do that, you are supposed to go to court and file an application by way of a motion to stop him. There is a particular application to stop him from kicking you out of the house because he doesn't have that right to do that. So you file that motion first, ensure that the court grants the order so that it stops him from kicking you out of the house. And then you now continue to proceed as a full-blown divorce against him, because obviously for him to even think of kicking you out of the house, then it means he's considered the option of divorcing you. So then it means that you have to go through that ordeal of getting the divorce proceedings started, serve him and all that, and ensure that if you have kids with him, I don't know whether you said you have kids with him, but if you have kids with him, you go to court, you ask for maintenance of the children, you ask for alimony from him. If you have properties, you ask for your 50% of those properties, and then if any other thing that you want, if you have any financial properties that you have acquired with him, shares, whatever, monies in banks, whatever. But once he starts that angle, you have to know that he is in for a full-blown divorce. So a lot of women, when it happens that way and the man immediately throws their things out, they think it is okay for the man to do that. I will always say that no, you don't have to let the man think that he can wake up one day and just throw your things out. He doesn't have that right to do that. So you file the right application and make sure that the court orders him to put your things back into where your things were. You're supposed to live there comfortably throughout the divorce proceedings and finish your divorce proceedings. Let the court make orders that, okay, if it is the house was a house that you both acquired, okay, it's either one person, the value of the court is going to ask that another is made for the property to be valued, and then if one party can buy the other party out, he buys it out. Other than that, the property is sold, and then each person takes his share of the money and goes to go and rent a new place or build another place for himself. But it is so wrong that a woman will just sit there and then one day the man gets up and says that I don't want to marry you anymore. Then you take your things and throw it outside. Then you see them in movies and all those things, or then you see them collecting their things on the streets. No. It's wrong. A man doesn't have that right to do that to you. And we have to know that if he does that, you have that legal right to stop him from doing so to you. And then pursue a full-blown divorce and make sure that you follow it up to the very end and get what you are supposed to get from the marriage. Yes, that's my answer to you.
Thank you so
I
much.
think the way it typically plays out in real life and why those women will just carry their bags and leave is because physical violence is usually involved. So even for their own physical safety, they would first just want to leave before they go to court to fight anything.
But a lot of African women don't
Once
eventually
physical
go to court
violence is
actually.
involved and your life is at risk, you wouldn't want to stay there and then wait for the man to kill you first. But once you pack your things and you leave, make sure that you use the legal process, like you rightly said, and then make sure that you get the right thing done. Otherwise, you see, the danger here of not doing the right thing to make sure that the man knows that he cannot take you for a ride and just one day get up and do that to you is that the moment the man gets away with that, he thinks that naturally as a man, he can get away with everything with you. And he starts to do, I'm telling you, he starts to do very evil things from that point onwards. But if you're able to stop him, immediately he starts with those things by way of getting orders from the court to stop him from whatever he started. He's called to, let me put it that, he's called to attention. And so he realizes that, hey, this woman is smart. I cannot take her for a ride. And from that point onwards, you see that he starts to look sharp. Other than that, you'll be a walkover when you just start to when you keep quiet and you watch him and he continues to do those things. Men will always step over women unless you put your foot down.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Okay, so I think it's time for us to free Barrister now, so that we've taken so much of her time. Thank you so much. This would have cost us a lot if we were paying, actually, because this is almost 2 hours. Thank you so much,
It's
Barrister.
okay.
I'm so
Thank
honored
you
that
too for
you honored
inviting
my
me.
invite. Thank
For
you so
your lovely
much.
audience. I'm
Thank
so
you.
grateful for the opportunity to share my knowledge about the law with all your followers.
We are more grateful. We are more grateful to have you. If you're not following her yet, please do ensure to go and follow her. If you're not following her, go and follow her. And if you
Thank you.
need legal advice, and that one now you're going to pay, oh, it's not free. You can go and consult her properly, but then do ensure to follow her. If you're in Ghana and you need a lawyer, please reach out to her. You guys can hear how sound she is. She know they do like say she no know wetin she dey talk. She knows what she's doing. So if you need her services, you
And
can.
she's not here telling us she's an advocate of marriage.
Hola. Hola, now you say make I hold my mouth, hold your own mouth, abeg.
We are here to talk about women and how to empower women so that
Yes.
women are smart and then they know their rights so that men don't walk over them. That's what the sisterhood is all about.
Yeah.
It's not about marriage. Marriage doesn't define you. Having children doesn't define you. None of those things define you as a person or as a woman.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that this is the platform to be talking about things like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank
yeah.
you so much. We are so grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
I'll take my leave
Yeah,
now.
have a good
And
evening.
hopefully we get to have more conversations in the future.
Yeah, we would definitely. We would invite you again.
Okay, I've heard you.
All
Bye
right.
bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So back to back to the conversation. That conversation that.
Did anyone notice that everything she said, even as people were asking different types of questions, Timmy asked different questions, I asked her questions. You notice how everything kind of boiled down to you need to get a lawyer and then you have to go to court, right? And anytime you hear get a lawyer, go to court, just be hearing ching 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 ching, money, right? Now money they talk so.
Yes.
So when women marry and they are in church, they will tell you, get something doing, no matter how little. Don't be high do. Just get something.
I
Just
tell
be
women
selling
all
pure
the time,
water.
don't get something no matter how little. What do you mean no matter how you don't need little? Lawyers, like, you see this 1 hour plus
Water
almost
money
2
will not
hours.
Get you lawyer.
You see this almost 2 hours she spent here, right? Do you know how much it would have cost if you were paying her to be here and talk to you and answer your questions for 2 hours? This lady has been following me for a very, it's just the fact that she's just nice to her, and then you get these 2 hours that she spent, assuming you are looking for a divorce, these questions that you're asking her today, those are the questions you will pay a lawyer.
You will be answering.
You
but
will
she
go
be
and
charging per hour.
yes, you will pay a lawyer to be answering these questions, these things that you're asking. He will first answer these things that she just gave you us for free, but the lawyer will first give you this for free before you even go to court. It would have been paid. So
the way
don't come and tell me that you're selling bags, you're selling wigs, and the wig is drop shipping, and you're a married woman, and no matter how small, you're joking. You're joking.
So if you don't have, as a woman, if you are not making enough money
Yes,
to sustain you,
consultation.
like you can't even afford your own accommodation. You have to live with an auntie. You have to live with your daddy. If it comes down to it, you can't actually rent a room for yourself to live in. Why are you even thinking about marriage? Why are they saying women that want to get married in 2025 and you are raising your hand. Why?
And you
Why
don't
are
have
you
a job.
Why, even if you have job and that job is it has not paid you enough to feed yourself and house yourself, why are you the one that is wearing wedding dress to church and be
Praying for
what?
husband. Somebody that is selling fish in the evening, making 3,000 naira a day, is wearing dress to go and pray for husband in church. You're making 3,000 naira a day with fish that you're selling by the junction. Me, I will patronize you because I'm trying to support you. I will patronize you, and because I like fish as well. But then at the end of the day, if you enter, now you go enter. Women, don't listen to that no matter how small thing. And you see this thing, I'm in my soft era. I hate all this feminine content a lot, because it's like I just want to do poke 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 in women's head and like open the head, let knowledge enter inside that a man is not a retirement plan. A man is not reliable. A man is not reliable. And then you have to understand something. The world is not soft. You cannot be soft. That femininity, they tell you that, oh, be in your feminine era, and your feminine era is to wear a dress and a bow on your head. That is outright nonsense. That thing is nonsense. By the time
soft era did not, the day soft era ceased to be an option for you is the day
you will know.
doctor, they were giving birth to you and the doctor said it's a girl. See, the moment the doctor said it's a girl, that's the end of soft era for you.
I'm telling you, the world is not soft. You cannot come here and be looking for softness. Okay, if you have married somebody who makes all these things, he has money to available for you to wear dresses and do, by all means, go ahead and do. I love that for you. But also understand that that is not who you should depend on 100%. And when you say this, somebody will just be somewhere saying, if your own husband is not dependable, don't tell me. No, darling, that's not the case. No. Because you have to understand that everything starts and stops with a person's will. That man can only give you that as long as he wants you to have it. The day he does not want you to have it, it's over. It's over.
See, even me that I'm here, that got a divorce in Canada and had a wonderful job at the time that I filed for divorce. I mean, I had a really good job, okay? I had such a good job that if I was seeing a psychologist or therapist, I was not even paying out of my own pocket. All right? My job will pay for it. Let me tell you, when I got a lawyer and I was like, blah, 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 blah. In fact, my job was so good that I was able to get 30-minute free consultation with a lawyer because of the affiliation they have with my employer. So you know that I had a really good job, right? Because the lawyer that is giving me 30-minute free consultation, his hourly rate was $300 and something an hour. Now, when I now decided,
please wait first, wait. You say 300 and what?
So the real fees was like 320 or something.
You know, when you're saying this $320, you used to do Nigerian women as if you're talking about 320 naira. $320 is about, if I'm not mistaken, is almost 700,000
an hour.
An hour.
But because of the affiliation, because me, I came through the employer, right? They gave me discount. So me, I only paid $240.
And that is still about 500,000. No, it may not be almost 500K. That's over 400,000.
Hours, me, I have to work to earn that 240 that I'm paying somebody per hour. And then after they gave me, they said this is the discount I will have. I say, okay, thank you. They now said, okay, before they even begin to work on my divorce stuff, right? I have to pay retainer. Retainer is RETAINER. If you don't know what that means, retainer simply means you first put down one big amount of money before they even start working on your case. It's not like they will be working on your case. They will now say, oh, it's 1 hour. Oh, yeah, pay us 240. No, you will first put down a lump sum before they even start. So their retainer was like $2,000 that I first had to write a check for before work can start. So as they were billing me, they are now, so they'll be like, okay, I've spent out of that my retainer fee, I've spent 500, whatever. They will now be deducting it right from that 2,000. And because it's Canada, right, and we have credit system. And
Thank you, Pink Passport.
so when the retainer finished or ran out, I should say, when it got exhausted, when they now continue to bill me, I had the option of, if I don't have cash, like if I couldn't pay right away, they will just be putting it, quote and unquote, on my account, but it will be accruing interest. So if they say, okay, your retainer fee don't finish now you are owing 1,005, and I'm like, okay, I don't have 1,005 yet. They'll be like, no, okay, no problem. But it's accruing interest though. So I now looked at the interest they will charge me.
Fadima, Nigerians' own may not be that expensive, but I need you to understand something. Sorry, Ola. If you're dealing with Nigerian lawyers, lawyer where you go pay 50,000, just know that maybe they don't already win you. Because if a lawyer goes to court and see his senior colleagues, let me tell you how wicked men can be. A man that married you, and this is one of the things I want to tell women who targets rich men to marry. That rich man that you're trying to divorce, that man can afford a lawyer like, what's the name of this files? A senior advocate. What's the name of this files? The bad guy's father. Femi Falana. He may not bring Femi Falana to your divorce issue, but he will bring somebody working in Femi Falana's chamber. You, on the other hand, shishi, get. So you're still begging one lawyer to collect 50,000 naira. The lawyer will collect 50,000 if he sees somebody from Femi Falana chamber and maybe he's aspiring to work there. You think say you go win that case? Let me ask you. You think you will win?
It will just be like, madam, don't worry. He said, no, saying they lied to you. So I can't look, and mind you, by this time, I was so depressed that I had to take a medical leave from work. I couldn't even work. So I wasn't even actually earning money like that. I was just lucky to have some savings because I happen to be somebody that does not spend money on wigs or stuff, right? Like, that's why I had savings. Because a lot of Nigerians here that you people are looking at and like, that abroad, me too, I must get there. These people don't actually have any savings. They are just living big. They are living large. So I wasn't making money because I was not medically okay to even be working. So I was on leave of absence from work. I'm paying all this big money to lawyer. After the retainer ran out, 2,000, and they are charging you 200 and something an hour. It doesn't take long for that money to run out. And mind you, I'm not only paying for when I talk to the lawyer. I'm not only paying for the time the lawyer spends in preparing my documents. I'm also paying for whenever the lawyer is meeting with my ex, because my ex represented his own self. He did not even hire a lawyer.
That's something you should know. And he's not just so you know, he did not study anything that has to do with law.
He's not a lawyer. Like here, you can represent yourself.
Even in Nigeria, anywhere, if you cannot afford a lawyer, you can. Just that this one can afford a lawyer, but he does not want to pay for a lawyer.
So essentially, it is every time they are working on your case. So if they are sending an email to my ex, the time it takes them to prepare that and send him some stuff, they are clocking it. It's on my own dime. Now, when they say, because I'm in Canada, he went back to Nigeria. Whenever they needed to meet with him over Zoom, if they have a 45-minute meeting with him on Zoom and tell him what they need to tell him, and he keeps asking some questions, and they're like, okay, so we will file this, we will send you a copy. And if he keeps prolonging the meeting in whatever way, that whole time that my lawyer is spending with him on Zoom, who do you think is paying for it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, at a point, I had to call my lawyer and be like, why am I the one paying for these Zoom meetings he's having? And the lawyer told me, said, see, even if he wasn't the one representing himself, even if he hired a lawyer, we will still have these meetings. It's just that because he's representing himself, that's why it's not costing him anything. That this is how it works. And I'm telling you, my head was just spinning. Because this guy was doing all those things on purpose, prolonging things. He was trying to drain me of money so that I will abandon that process and not go through with it. For fear of giving up, I did not compute how much I spent on my divorce until the divorce was finalized. Because I felt like if I was calculating it and I saw the amount, I will faint and I will not continue. And another thing that worked in my favor, because it wasn't even that my savings helped me that much. Another thing that worked in my favor was because being in Canada, I had access to credit, right? So I could borrow money from bank without even writing an application. I had a line of credit that I could fall on. That when the whole thing was now over, I was now paying back my basic. So even my good job could not really carry this thing. If you understand what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not enough to just know that, oh yeah, the law protects me like this, like that. Divorces are more, they tend to be more expensive than, at least my own divorce was more expensive than my wedding.
Even in Nigeria right now, say you want to process a divorce, assuming the man is not problematic, assuming he's not problematic, he's not trying to harm you, he wants a normal divorce. 1 year, minor, you go spend like 1 million. No? You will spend minimum of 1 million, assuming the man is not even trying to fight you. Him too, he might know the answer. Court they call him, he know the answer. You know those kind of men that your lawyer, their own lawyer self don't tire for them.
Yeah. So, and you know, the funny thing is, after all this money spent, and this guy meets with my lawyer, and he was like,
So
okay,
thank
we'll
God,
file
see
this,
somebody
we'll
is
send
saying
you.
she's paying 1.5 million. This is assuming the person is not trying to fight you back, oh. Because it becomes a whole different thing when the person himself is trying to fight back, of which most of the time men will fight you back. And a man fighting you back.
Say now.
So when after all this meeting with my lawyer and me paying for it and all this wahala, and they will agree, and my lawyer will even be like, the guy seems like a reasonable guy. We had a good conversation. So I told him we were gonna file the papers, yada yada, and we will send it to the courts. By the time they do that thing that they agreed upon, and they send him email and say, oh, May 16, oh, you have to call into court and do blah, 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 or full conference with court. Oh. This guy will ghost my lawyer. For a month, we will not hear from him. Lawyer will be asking me again that, is he not using this email address again? I said he's using it. They will call his phone, they will call anything. This guy will just ghost everybody. We won't hear, and he did that for months. Like me, I will now message him and be like, see, if you don't do this, I will try to threaten him. He will now reach out to the lawyer. The courts, they postponed dates like 2 or 3 times. All this thing is costing me money. What my lawyer now did to force him to stop ghosting us was to file I think they call it motion or whatever they call it, to courts that since this person is ghosting us and is not participating, that everything I'm asking for in the divorce, the court should just grant it since this person is not interested in following the process. It was when that was now filed, was when this guy now came out of nowhere, was telling us that he's had some health challenges, like just lying, basically. Because this man checks his email at least 100 times a day. So my eye see something, even he himself was shocked.
You know, the situation is worse in Nigeria that you can be on a divorce case for almost 10 years. That's
What
why
are you
that
saying? 10
phase
years,
is in
12 years,
trouble now.
20 years.
Exactly. Like, it's not even just about the money, it's also the time you spend on the process. You can be, even if you find a lover, if you marry the person within the period of the divorce proceeding, they can sue you for bigamy, and that's
Yes.
a different issue altogether. I think for me, is everybody should be careful when they are planning to get married. It's not about the dancing or jumping up and down on your wedding day.
And
If you're getting
especially
married and you
women who
are
have
free,
reservations before the wedding. For some reason, there's a part of you that is saying no. But you're like, I've paid for this
did you
one.
see that video of one girl that was they were convincing to do the marriage? She said she had cold feet, and her friend was convincing her. The video has been on the internet. The whole thing just, I'm like, you have cold feet to marry somebody on the day of your marriage, and you are still going ahead with it.
Aduke
If you're
ore,
afraid,
e better o.
And for those that don't know me, this man I was divorcing is not a wicked man. No, he's a pastor. He's a man of God. He's a born again brother. Okay.
And he has biblical backings to that thing he's doing. No? Because at least he's delaying the divorce so that at least maybe you will eventually come back to him. So that wickedness is, he has biblical reasons why he's doing that.
Yeah, he even told the court that his religion forbids him from divorce. That what the court should do is get us a counselor that can help us through our marriage, help us work through our issues.
Pink
Because
passport,
we believe
getting
that
a
God-
divorce, getting a prenup is a whole nother conversation, because even with a prenup, it does not, it may reduce the issue of property, sharing property. But if you have children, it does not stop the battle between of children. It does not stop the other divorce processes. And I need you to understand that the court also does not want to grant you a divorce sharp, because they are hoping that you reconcile. It's not like the court wants to just dissolve
the court is not in
marriages.
the business of putting asunder.
Yes.
So it's between both of you to decide what. So what we say in law is, when you people got married, it was between the two of you that signed the contract. If you want a third party to put asunder, you have to prove to them why they have to put asunder. So it takes a very long time and it costs a lot of money. It's not something that people should be rushing to.
Yeah.
Especially women. You do not gain anything from it if you have not quantified your value. I feel very afraid for women that don't know the value they bring into marriage. All this, my husband said, this one said, and I don't know what to do. What do you mean you don't know what to do? You are the one betting kids, you're the one cleaning the house, you're the one cooking, and you still don't see your value. Why did you get married?
And the first time
very
ever,
painful.
that I went on Google to check divorce and the laws and everything was when I was getting ready to divorce. Do not let that be you. Before you even have boyfriend, wherever you are living.
When I said that, Shebi men chop road me, carried my videos and were walking about Twitter or everywhere, insulting me how I'm ugly, how I'm fat, that I said women should get divorce lawyers before they marry.
Before you even agree to be a person's boyfriend, I'm not even, before you even reach marriage, before you even agree to be dating a man, you have to know the divorce laws in whichever location you live in. You can't afford to wait till when there's and all this religious nonsense. Do you think divorce was my own portion? Divorce was never my portion. But it got to a point that I was like, it's better for divorce to be my portion than for buy to be my portion.
I just wish this the way you talk, Christian women go still gree o, because at the end of the day, Christian women have exemptionality complex. No worry.
Okay.
Okay, back to Miss Ann V said something. She said, okay, Bakassi in an interview with Nedu Wazobia said men should marry women who they can groom. Listen, ladies, I beg you in the name of God, just because a person is a celebrity does not mean they have sense. Popularity is not sense. It's not a sign of progression. It's nothing. when I started making content at first, let me tell you guys something about Blossom, thank you. When I started making content at first, right? When I noticed something, when you have like a fewer audience, had it been I was not doing what I was doing before I came to social media, before I joined joined TikTok, let me not say, because I used to do this on Facebook before. But then, assuming I was not doing it before I even came to social media, and I just came, you saw my content, and then you're just seeing like, okay, maybe 20 followers, 30 followers, women tend to believe that because just listen to the content of what a person is telling you. Do not pay attention to the number of following a person has as a sign of wisdom. The bigger a creator is, somebody told me that this person knows me. Oh, it's not somebody that met me online or anything. It's somebody that knows me in real life. Told me that, who am I to say I want to question what what's the name of this this guy, Mike Orokpo also, that who am I to question what he says? Sorry, I'm trying to block an idiot. Okay. That who am I to question, I've blocked himself. That who am I to question what Orokpo will say, because how many, that the guy has millions of people following him. So because there are millions of people following him, is that a sign of wisdom? So I need you guys to understand that a person having a lot of followers, or because he's in the entertainment world, does not mean that, because sometimes I can be here and I'll hear people say things like, oh, this celebrity did this one. This celebrity had a child out of wedlock. So do you understand? A celebrity does not mean wisdom. Stop using, if you're using a celebrity to do a role model, if you like what you like about that person, if it's the way they dress, let him be your role model for dressing. If it is comedy and you want to be a comedian, let the person be your role model in comedy. It is not.
It's women that do this thing you are saying.
Exactly. It should not be big. Thank you, Larry. It should not be something that you're carrying somebody to be celebrity because it's a celebrity. And then even when they are making mistakes in life, you feel it's okay because they did it. You feel it's okay because they did it. It's wrong. Okay, Bakassi clearly is an idiot for saying that thing that he said. So there is no reason why you should take his word seriously. Don't even take that one seriously at all. And at the end of the day, even from the way he looks, he actually looks like what he said. He looks like who we say that thing that he said. So I'm not surprised.
I think we can also see what they are trying to protect, the men.
Yeah.
If women can just leave their message for the people that they are messaging it, just refuse to be the one that they can groom.
Exactly.
If he's telling the men, find who you can groom, then you'll be able to recognize that kind of man and tell him, I'm not interested. If Nigerian women or African women can come to the point where they are able to identify these low-value people that want to use you and not bring anything to your life, and say, you know what, I'm not interested in this, and leave it for them. In the next 20, 30 years, they will see that no woman wants them. The problem is that we still have people clinging to them, trying to please them, trying to argue with them. What are you arguing with them for? Leave
Because
them
they
in their
believe they can change their mind.
You
That's the
cannot
thing.
change
They
you.
believe they can show.
Men
they
don't
can-
respect you enough to even listen to anything you're saying, let alone change them.
They don't, like, these women don't know that when you are talking as a woman, all these men are hearing is that's all they are hearing. You want to
to debate them.
That's
Like,
why
I'm
they keep
like,
attacking people like
men-
Timmy, because they feel like Timmy is gathering steam and she's talking to their girlfriends and they are angry. So
I'm telling you, that's not it remain make them start to dey beat me for public. Now just because they never see me.
If they see you on the road, they can enjoy you. Those people are terrible.
Women think that they can, if they can explain to a man why 2 + 2 = 4, the man will finally get it. He's not hearing you. He's just hearing quack, 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 and he's waiting for the quack to stop for him to tell you how life should be.
Okay, Timmy, can I say something shortly?
Yeah, and then also Abby, after you say what you want to say, please let's go back to that conversation that you asked Barrister, because I wanted us to dwell on that.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. You see, I was having a phone conversation with a Ghanaian lady. I was glad when Law and Consorts said in Ghana now, they know that all women are empowered. So the expectation is you need to da 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 da. She said a lot, yeah. But unfortunately, my Ghanaian women feel that being a wife is a career, like it's a vacancy.
Sophia, good evening. Welcome.
That men are giving them, and for that reason, majority of them are quick to even like sacrifice their career and all that, all in the name of my husband says. Yeah. I was having this discussion with a lady who actually told me that she's a divorcee and was not even giving much because the husband said she wasn't cooking for her, she wasn't sleeping for her. She actually added, yes, Abby, in Ghanaian court, the moment your husband says that if you were not cooking for her you were not honoring your conjugal duties, you are finished. I was like, really? He said yes. But then on the flip side, I was having a discussion with this girl, and I was talking to her about the fact that if my husband wants me to do this, I need to ensure that he's paying me for that. Like, as in, be on financial negotiation with him before making any sacrifices. It got to a point she kept throwing questions at me, and you know, the usual fairy tale that we've been sold. She never found any of such answers from what I was giving her. Considering the fact, knowing very well that I'm a married woman, yeah? Do you know what this lady told me? Abby, I think you're being too difficult. Relax and enjoy your marriage. So you see how women are. Like, they feel that being like shutting your brain, not being pushy, being like having listening ears in. Don't push, don't press, like don't bargain, because the moment you do, you start having issues with the marriage. So instead of bargaining or negotiating for something better, she would rather shush just for peace to prevail. Meanwhile, this person is actually a divorcee. So women need to wake up, like I was saying. I've heard a lot from online, especially here on TikTok. They're like, yes, we joined the money together, blah, blah, blah. I don't subscribe to joint accounts. I've always been sharing this with women. I don't subscribe to joint accounts because a man will leave you in the, like, deep on the desert where you never even dreamt of.
Without water.
Yes. So never.
Sarah, it was on your life that one woman kept arguing with all of us that it's wrong for a woman to be compensated for having
her baby.
That your husband should appreciate you. I said, okay, give us specific ways that the man can appreciate.
Words of
monetary
affirmation.
She said words of affirmation and rubbing your back when
Like,
when you are
Like,
pregnant.
meanwhile, I was having a baby through cesarean, and all my husband could do was just hold my hand while they were cut the incision, epidural, the pains, and all. I was going through it alone. But see, that is my husband was
I
like,
even thought the lady was like 18 years old. Though. This person that is telling us this thing, she has children.
yes. So I was going through this epidural pain. I don't know. For those of you who had CS, they put some spray at my back, yeah. And because I developed hemorrhoids during pregnancy, I had sore bum. So I was pantless on that table. And then the lady put the spray before putting the injection in my spine. And the spray it drilled all the way down to my inner area. And come and see some sharp pain. That the heat, yeah. And all my husband could do was just hold my hand. And women are like, yeah, my husband was with me. My husband was this. My husband was that. Blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, you went through the pains, the holding hands, rubbing shoulders.
No, it's my own husband that should have come and be with her. She is my own husband that should be with you. Abi, is it me that should come and be with you?
Praising Ushemba for traveling from Nigeria to London.
For the birth of his child. Like, what the actual...
You see, I intentionally climbed up to ask that question because now the men feel that when they put their names on their properties, quickly the women are able to fish them, read meanings into it. So now they've taken a U-turn using their children as the title for whatever properties that they have. As if they will say, oh, let's put our children's names. Let's put our children's names, da. But the thing is, whether women we like it or not, men have got chauvinistic behavior. And that is where the dominance comes from. And that is why when we are talking, in as much as they know that we are making sense, they shut their ears. Just so, as soon as we are done talking, they will impose whatever BS they have on us. So all I'm trying to say
Yeah,
is...
I want to start a short series now on my other account on TikTok where I'll be traumatizing women about things that happen with pregnancy and childbirth as my contribution to society.
Unfortunately,
women can think very well before they make that decision.
Ola, unfortunately, I tell you what, it wouldn't do anything to women. Do you know why? We've been conditioned to accept pain as the norm. So far as it benefits a man.
I don't think it will help a lot of them, but even if I can only reach 2 out of 1,000, I think it's what
you are right. Yeah. Because men are telling you that yes, men went for war. We put our lives on the line. We went for war. The decision they themselves made. And they easily made such decisions because if men were the ones carrying pregnancy, they wouldn't be making such decisions to create wars. But in as much as they were going for wars, pushing other human beings to the forefront for them to be unalive, women were still bleeding to push out babies, whom in future, men still being at the forefront of leadership will still make decisions to push them again to go and be unalive, because men have decided to resort to creating wars as their way of conflict resolutions. Yet, women still think that men are protectors. I came to shed light on the fact that if you are in marriage, the center love. I was having a discussion with Timmy on DM the last time. The moment you as a woman decenter love from a man, you'll be able to stand on business. Because if you don't decenter love, first I thought it was just around decentering men. But if you decenter love, you will know that whatever the man is doing for you, he is because he is doing that to protect whatever benefit he is getting from you. So it's transaction. Because the
Love
love
yourself.
Sorry. Let me just chip in something. Decentering love is the love that you have for the man. Oh. Still look for, when you're getting married, still look out for a man that loves you anyway. But decenter the one that you have for him as if is. I just hope.
Yeah. If you decenter love, whatever that he is doing for you, you will see it as a transaction.
Because if a man cannot love
Yeah.
you, there is nothing else that a man can give you that is what it.
Exactly. But the moment you focus on, yes, I love him. That your I love him is the reason why women, after CS, going through pains and all that, people didn't even go through CS. They have like the VJ canal birth, the natural thing. But then 2 weeks, they are giving their bodies to their husbands already because I love him and he was struggling. So it's like, because you have not dissented love, it's like you are putting your life at risk just to make that person comfortable. A man would never do that for you. In as much as to me, you are saying that the man loving you, blah blah blah. The man would never give you something that he would force. Like the moment he will remains like you be in the like scarcity. Like if he's got a pound, the man will not give you the pound and die of hunger. A man wouldn't do that.
The truth is, a person shouldn't even.
The truth is, let me give you some comic relief. It's been so serious since the lawyer started, and now it's been very, very serious and gloomy. Let me give you some comic relief. So when I had my first baby, I tore really, really bad. Like she just came out like it was as if it was a rocket that just did.
Venusian baby, that's true. Thank you.
And it tore me badly, right? And it took a long time for me to heal. I did everything they said. I took pain medications. I sat on sit baths, all these things. Every time I had to sit down, I'll have to put one cheek of my bum down on the chair before I lower the other cheek of my bum slowly, so as not to have pain. And even my auntie was like, you shouldn't take that. It normally doesn't take this. Like at month number 3, my bum was still hurting. And she was like, that she doesn't remember it taking that long for her own to. Because I told the doctor too. The doctor was like, are you doing it? But I said, I'm doing it. The thing, but I had, is it second degree tear, whatever they call it. I tore really badly, right? So, at a point, I was even giving up hope. I'm like, maybe this is how my bum will just feel for the rest of my life. Like, it didn't feel like how bad it was at the beginning, but at the same time, it did not completely disappear. There was discomfort. It went from very bad pain to discomfort, right? And I was just like, well, I'll just live with that little discomfort for the rest of my life, right? So around that month number 3, month number 4, right? Usually they will say abstain for SEX for 6 weeks. But this was like month number 3 going on 4. And I felt like I was ready for SEX. As okay, trigger one, I felt like I was ready. And the first time we were going to do it, as it just one begin start like this, I said, hey, it just felt like it was not the thing that impregnated me before. It felt like it was knife that was entering my body. I said, yeah. He said, are you okay? I said, it hurts badly. He said, okay, maybe we don't. And this is after
3 months.
Abundance of lubricant and everything, and foreplay and all these things to relax your body and XYZ. It was like, and I married a good man now. So it was like, okay, we don't have to today. We don't, it looks like you're in a lot of pain. Yeah, just picture me in the missionary position. It was like, oh.
Someone is saying the husband doesn't want her to born, as in don't want her to have children. In the comments. That's good now. That's good.
So, yeah. So it was like, oh, we don't. Fadima, I'm actually sharing this for people to laugh because it was starting to sound. So it was like, oh, we don't have to do it like you can wait a few more weeks or something. Guess what I said? I said no.
Island girl, be careful though. Just make sure that there are no other hidden things going on in the background.
Yeah.
Because the reason you're giving me now is making me a bit skeptical. If it's that he does not want children, I can understand. But that he wants children, but he doesn't want the woman who he married to suffer, I can understand. Just as long as there is no hidden agenda.
Or maybe he's got children already.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Okay, he wants adoption. That's okay. That's okay. No. Adoption is fine.
So I was the one that said, no.
When you do that adoption, go and do DNA to be sure that's not his child he adopted.
Alan girl sounds very young. When she said he doesn't have children.
So you guys, yeah, NEPA, so don't tell me make I go rest.
Well,
yeah, round up. Then I wanted us to come back to that conversation of adding